Before we get to the movie, I don't usually do current events on this show, but TikTok has been in the news lately.
Oh boy.
I know this is kind of your main thing.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this? How is it affecting you?
I think it's insane that this is the thing that brings Republicans and Democrats together somehow, is TikTok. There are people who really, really feel like it's not going to be anything. Mm-hmm. But I mean, the president signed it. So,
yeah.
I'm concerned, but I'm also on a bunch of other platforms too.
Yeah.
I've yet to find a short form format service like this that is quite as interesting to navigate.
Well, in the event I can condense this show down to about 90 seconds, I will be on TikTok as well. Maybe. Before we get started, I just want to let you know something important. Rob, my co-host today, he lives in a city very far away. Coming here to do this show is a bit of a haul. So I wanted to maximize my time with Rob. We're shooting 2 back-to-back episodes this weekend. So the month of May will be the month of Rob. There's always been an issue on this show from the very beginning, and that's very long movies. We can't watch them. It's too much footage for me to go through to keep on a timely release schedule, and it's too much time on the excruciating old leather couch, which is very hard on your limbs and your joints, so we don't do them. The only situation that we could watch a very long movie is if I had a co-host who I was shooting back-to-back episodes with over a single weekend, and wait a minute, that's exactly what we're doing!
Aha!
So we can watch half of a long movie today, and the other half tomorrow.
Oh my goodness.
And this is a movie I've wanted to watch on this show for such a long time.
Oh boy.
It's big. It's hot. It's a total disaster. It is The Towering
Yes!
Inferno.
Now, I have seen this movie before, and I love this movie.
Released in 1974, TTI was directed by John Guillermin and stars Steve McQueen, Paul Newman, William Holden, Faye Dunaway, Fred Astaire, Susan Blakely, Richard Chamberlain, Robert Vaughn, Robert Wagner, and O.J. Simpson, the recently late O.J. Simpson.
Oh, really? You'd think they'd cover that in the news.
This was the highest grossing film of 1974, earning over $200 million at the box office. It was nominated for 8 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, and won 3 for Best Song, Best Editing, and Best Cinematography. I picked this movie thinking that it had an intermission. It does not. Mm-hmm. But I did some research and I found out where the midpoint of the movie is. So we have to look out for a scene that ends with O.J. Simpson picking up a cat.
Okay.
That's the middle of the movie.
O.J. Simpson picking up a cat feels like it's a punchline to a joke I don't like.
O.J. Simpson's kind of a guy I don't like.
Not anymore!
Your gift today is not towering, but it is nevertheless a tower.
Let's take a look at this. This is a tumble tower, which we can legally call it a tumble tower and not a specifically patented name.
That's right.
It's great for when you're traveling. So, when I'm driving home, I'll just put this on the dash and I'll carefully take out pieces as I'm driving 90 miles an hour.
Or you could douse it in kerosene and light it up, and then it would be a towering inferno.
A towering inferno, yeah.
Well, take the stairs, do not take the elevator, over to the old leather couch where we'll be enjoying the sights and sounds and screams of the towering inferno. Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Let's get spicy. The Towering Inferno begins with a helicopter. Its destination, San Francisco, and a tall skyscraper. This is the Duncan Building? I don't know the name of the building.
This is the Glass Tower.
It is owned by Mr. Duncan, who is a big shot, rich businessman. Doug Roberts gets off of that helicopter. He's the architect who designed
the Glass Tower.
Oh, that elevator is goofy.
Jeez.
Look at that thing.
I think this elevator can calm the hell down, quite frankly.
Doug goes to one of the top floor offices and he meets Susan. They are romantically involved. And Susan has a convenient office boudoir for them to do their business in. This man arrives at the building via taxicab. I don't know his name yet. Usually I look up these things in the closing credits, but obviously we only watch half the movie, so I can't do that. It's Fred Astaire. We'll call him Fred for now.
Trips, falls, legacy ruined. And we know he's a con man because he's carrying a briefcase filled with bearer bonds.
Oh, the bearer bonds from Hans Gruber.
And they specifically let us know that he rented this tux, so he's not as rich as he says he is.
Come on, Fred, show us a few steps. You can't go this whole movie without dancing at least once.
He's wooing this woman.
Hi.
I'm here for pussy. Hi. Meanwhile, downstairs in the electrical room, some malfunctions are happening.
Ah, my ribs are done.
There's a security officer, Harry Jernigan. Doug and Susan have some post-lovemaking chat. She informs him that she's been offered a higher position at the company, and this is going to endanger their relationship somehow.
And I want a place where our kids can run around and grow and be free.
But I wanted our kids to grow up in a Skinner box. Just got laid, what's up? Doug goes downstairs to check out those malfunctions. It's conduit. This isn't the conduit he specified in his building plans.
Specs call for conduit safety covering.
How many fuse terminals did you check?
How many do I have to?
They should have used Newman's own electrical conduits. They're really very high quality, and proceeds go to benefit charities.
Yeah, and they only cause half as many fires, so... This guy is Dan Bigelow. He's director of publicity.
I'm missing something.
Top billing in this movie. I'm way down, far down on the list.
So far down, it's pretty much just a kiss before dying.
It's a movie.
Yeah, I gathered that. Somebody messed up. It's probably Roger Simmons, Mr. Duncan's son-in-law.
But I want to talk to that son-in-law of yours. I want to talk to him right away.
Meanwhile, in a storage room... Okay. Doug goes to Roger's house. Doug accuses Roger of taking shortcuts.
I don't have to take crap from you.
I also don't have to take smack, junk, or guff.
Every piece of wire I put in that building is strictly up to code, inspected and approved.
The code's not enough.
Look at the size of this building. We need better than code, dude.
Roger, if you've done anything to Dad's building, God help you.
Mustn't miss the party.
All right, I'll just hang out at home and watch the Thornbirds.
That night, they're having a big gala, grand opening of the skyscraper, and Senator Gary Parker is there in person.
This magnificent building represents yet another landmark, a long succession of landmarks for this great city.
And I will throw knives at it. Wait, this isn't the Magnificent Seven.
There's a bunch of people in tuxes and press is here. Oh, it's going to be a wonderful night. For somebody, probably not any of these people.
Where were you all day?
I was cutting the brake lines on your car to save you money.
And to celebrate, we're going to turn on all the lights.
And everybody is impressed at how tall this building is and how competently constructed it was. Mr. Duncan brings all the illustrious guests up to a party on a really, really, really high floor of the skyscraper. This turns out to be a bad idea, but we won't get to that yet. Bigelow goes to see his secretary, Rhonda.
Sorry to break into your evening, but I have one letter that's got to go out.
I need you to lick the stamp.
Gee, I never thought we'd come back here before the party.
Yeah, I never thought this would be the last day of my life. They've got a little thing going. A sex thing.
Tweak my notes.
We may never love like.
Oh, I hear the sound of Oscar.
Oh, while we're here, let's leave a mark.
A scorching hole in the ground. Oh, wait, that comes later. Everybody is enjoying the soiree. They're having fancy wines at the bar.
Open the bottle, will you?
Yes, sir.
He's a bit ethnic, isn't he? And they're just really loving life.
Meanwhile, fire.
Doug is on the 81st floor. He's checking circuits and boxes. They're all faulty.
This can't be right.
These are old PBR cans. Whoever held the purse strings really skimped on the materials used to make these electrical systems, and they're all going to start shorting out. And they do it quicker than expected.
Whoa! Watch for the backdraft.
Backdraft!
Oh!
Smother it! Try to smother it!
Put him out of his misery! There's a big fire on the 81st floor. Fire trucks are called and are en route. Fire trucks are always so ironically festive.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to know why the world's greatest architect isn't here.
The answer to that question is fire. The answer to every question from this point on will be fire.
Pretty soon, Chief Steve McQueen arrives. Haven't caught his name yet. This is a learning curve, folks. Doing like a two-parter, it's a learning curve.
And he's ready to take charge.
Did you catch Steve McQueen's name?
Yeah, Chief O'Halloran.
He doesn't like these skyscrapers because when they burn, he can't put them out. So he has a little animosity right off the bat toward Doug. Here we go. There we go.
Yeah, that's the kind of dancing we want to see Fred Astaire do. Just kind of... Definitely don't want a longer shot where you can see his feet.
He goes and talks to Mr. Duncan.
Gotta move all these people out of here. Oh, now, just how bad is it?
Have you tried bribing the fire?
Did you change any of Doug's electrical specifications?
I changed all of Doug's electrical specifications, and I did it purely out of spite.
Is this because I used fruit roll-ups as the insulation for the wiring? Because it was delicious when I thought of it.
Would you please stop playing?
You're awful. You're embarrassing yourself.
Seriously.
It seems that we have a small fire. In accordance with the fire department's orders,
You all need to start screaming immediately.
we're going to move the party down to the lobby for a while, but I promise you, dinner will not be delayed.
In fact, if anything, it's probably going to be cooked a little bit faster than it was before.
And they start shoving people downstairs in elevators.
This is going to take a while. Meanwhile, the fire just says, nope!
We have a full-fledged emergency on our hands, folks. The fire is belligerent. Repeat, the fire is belligerent. Yeah. And the elevators can't get people down fast enough. You see, when that fire gets real big, those elevators, they will sometimes respond to the fire and they'll open on the floor where the fire is.
So please, we'll use the scenic elevators over there.
No, we won't.
No, we won't. Screw you, fake news!
Fake news! These are the real firemen. The first firemen to arrive were all just strippers.
Looks bad, Jack.
Looks pretty good to me. This is our bread and butter, fire. This is how we make our money.
Empty all the water out!
A lady in a towel falls through.
The elevator opens on 81, and they are all burned alive. Roger confronts Duncan. You are going to blame me for this, but you know what? You told me to save money on building costs, and so I did my best. I did what you told me. I learned it from watching you, Dad.
Please just join the end of the line.
And really, this is the end of the line for all of us, so just go wherever you want. Bigelow and Rhonda have just had a sexy time in bed.
For some reason, every office in this building also has a bedroom in it.
You know what astonishes me?
What?
Close-up magic. And they're talking about the future, which is always a bad sign. Oh, look at that. Everything's on fire. He didn't notice all of that while he was knocking boots with that lady. Is her hoochie that great? It's a good thing I have those smoke-proof lungs. He's going to go for help. He puts some wet towels around his head. He brags about his track and field accomplishments.
I used to run 110 flat.
He runs out into the fire. He bursts into flames, but he keeps on running. Very heroic effort, but just an effort, unfortunately.
But he could be okay. Well, no, probably not now.
All right, that's a picture wrap for Robert Wagner.
Yeah,
Picture wrap for Mr. Wagner. Rhonda is left alone. She is inhaling smoke. She takes a chair and breaks out one of the windows so she can get a breath of fresh air. Damn it, Roger Simmons. Those were supposed to be shatterproof windows. But unfortunately, that causes the fire, you know, the whole backdraft thing.
Well, at least she got out of the building. Anyway, people are starting to get really concerned because of all the fire and the screaming and the smoke and the hey, 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 it hurts me.
The woman who was Fred Astaire's date got on the elevator right away, but she didn't go to the ground floor. She went to the 87th floor, where her family is. Harry and Doug see her.
I'll get him down.
They won't be alive anymore, but I'll get them. I always get them.
On brand, sir.
They bust open the door. Doug goes in, rescues the boy, little Mike Brady from the Brady Bunch. Here's a story of a boy named Bobby who was breathing in all the smoke and flames.
Is there anybody else in there? Like a sister, a little sister, or anything like that? No.
My sister, where's Angela?
Angela?
Angela! Angela! Angela!
Angela's ashes. Goes back in, gets the sister. The whole family's reunited and safe for now, but not for long. Harry Jernigan, which is a weird name. He's checking all the rooms, making sure that no one else is in need of help.
Hello, security!
He sees a cat.
Kitty, almost missed you.
Takes the cat with him. What a swell guy.
We're at the end of part 1.
Of the Towering Inferno. The Towering Inferno, a piece of it anyway.
What's going to happen? Who's going to survive? Is Robert Wagner okay?
No.
What if he showed up in the second half?
The movie does a pretty good job of setting up the characters.
Yeah.
Faye Dunaway doesn't seem like a major part of the story.
No.
And then the Fred Astaire stuff, I know that you caught on that he was a con man.
Yeah.
That I didn't catch on to that so much.
Yeah.
But I imagine a lot of his stuff is going to come out more in the second half.
Yeah.
Are we sure those were bearer bonds, or are we just dieharding this?
Maybe.
We made a lot of jokes about OJ, which he deserves it. But
Yeah.
I just want to look at just purely his acting performance in
yeah.
this role of Harry Jernigan.
Okay, look.
He's pretty good.
It's good for not everybody in this movie to be white.
Yeah, and also I liked the fact that Harry would step up and be an authority.
Damn it, man, get on the ball, call an ambulance. I want everybody off this floor.
This is a movie that needs a lot of heroes because we're going to be losing them like flies as the film goes on.
Yeah. I think the special effects in this are pretty great.
Yeah, this movie holds up. Sometimes I feel sorry for people of younger generations or generations below mine. Whenever they watch a movie, they're not going to say in the future as often things like, how'd they do that? Because the answer's always going to be computers.
Right.
But in this movie, the answer is with some great difficulty. That's how we did it. We did it with stuntmen, and Irwin Allen made just movies like this. So the man knew how to make stuff look dangerous. In a way, the film is kind of like a slasher movie, except the slasher is fire.
It's kind of hunting everyone down.
Yeah.
Going from floor to floor. And
it feels personal.
The elevators are a really great source of dramatic tension.
Yeah.
We just see those small groups of people.
Something that I feel like these movies understood is that when this happens to a bunch of people, you gotta have them in tuxes and evening dresses and really punch home. These people are rich.
Yeah.
So don't feel too bad. They've had pretty good lives up to this point. Ultimately, a lot of these movies are kind of a class structure parables. Like, when the fire chief comes in, that's the first thing he says.
But you guys just keep building them as high as you can.
What is the point of skyscrapers other than ego? It's just gonna get a bunch of people killed. The thing that kicks everything off, cutting corners, saving money, millionaire cheapskates, looking at the bottom line, and are going to ironically fall 136 floors to that bottom line.
Also minimize the danger once the danger becomes apparent because
Right.
it's inconvenient. It's really interesting casting Richard Chamberlain as a villain. We don't often see that. He's a really good villain.
He's like the Paul Reiser from Aliens of the movie.
Very smug.
He's evil for greed reasons.
He's evil for like, yeah, I did it, so what? Or I'm going to deny it until I can't anymore.
Yeah.
I think we talked about most of the principal actors. Well, we haven't really talked about Paul Newman and Steve McQueen. They're kind of doing their thing. They're well cast.
I think one of the reasons why you need both a Paul Newman and a Steve McQueen, we've got Paul Newman being normal everyday guy, basically, being as heroic as he possibly can, but you also need Steve McQueen, who's the expert in fire.
Yeah, his job is heroism. Paul Newman has to rise to heroics.
Right. The way that it juggles the characters around. Like, there's a very quick shot, the camera's on William Holden, and then Richard Chamberlain walks by him and the camera continues to follow him. So we seamlessly transition from one scene to another. There's a bunch of stuff like that in this movie that's really, really well done. It's not just that stuff's on fire and explodes. It's the fact that there is like a million characters and you never feel like you're drowning in them. There's a clarity of storytelling.
A lot of these disaster movies are so much of their time, particularly the airport movies. And this one doesn't feel dated.
No.
Well, we're done talking about the Towering Inferno for now, but it's not over yet. We will revisit it in our next episode. But This episode isn't over yet because we have to do Seen It.
Seen It!
The Aux Squad Goals 1611 writes, have you guys seen 12 Angry Men? I watched it at a very young age and it has been one of my favorite movies since then. Seen It.
Seen It!
I saw it in high school. Some teacher decided that he wanted a nap that day, so he had us watch 12 Angry Men. Mm-hmm. Had not seen it since then until recently.
One of the most solidly written and directed
and cast.
Yeah, everybody is perfectly cast. You know exactly who everybody is, and I think the fact that they never identify the race of the defendant.
They do.
They do.
Yes, they do, and that's the part of the movie I don't like. Right when the jury's dismissed to deliberate, they have this shot of this wide-eyed little Hispanic boy whose tears are welling up in his eyes. You see that and you're like, the kid's innocent.
The play doesn't tell you.
No, you, the viewer, want to be one of those jurors. Mm-hmm. You want to be as uncertain as they are. And the whole thing is not about the guilt or the innocence of the kid. It's about reasonable doubt. And that's what juror number 8 has. I'm not saying he's innocent. I'm just saying I'm not sure he's guilty. And we have to talk about it.
The two switchblade knives on the table is such a great moment. But for some reason, I also really love the scene at the very end of the movie where he's like, hey, what's your real name? And he tells him, and it's just kind of like, oh, all right. There's nothing poignant or anything like that. It just kind of ends and everybody just goes on with their lives. Jess Boudin says, Past Lives was up there for me. Absolutely stunning and heart-wrenching. Fully agree.
Seen it.
It's really just a terrific 3-person drama. It doesn't really have a villain. It's just kind of a tragic situation. Well, you're giving me a look like you think that maybe there's a villain. Are you thinking that the friend is the villain?
No. The scene of that movie that stands out to me, probably stands out to most people, is when the 3 of them go out to eat.
Yeah.
And they're sitting at that bar, and there's that point where she just turns away from her boyfriend and just talks to this guy in Korean forever. Mm-hmm. I just felt so bad for that guy. I was like, dude, you need to start looking for apartments. Because this relationship is not going to work.
I think that's one of the things that I find interesting about the movie is how much her boyfriend has a role in the film. It feels like he wouldn't. Yeah. Normally in movies like this, there would be an affair, but instead everybody kind of handles the situation very realistically and emotionally.
Sabrina Ventrella. I watched Godfather 2 as my final movie of the year. I'm ashamed to say I didn't get the greatest ever hype. Seen it.
Seen it.
Godfather 1 is generally considered to be the greatest ever. I think most Godfather fans acknowledge that Godfather 2 is inferior.
Although I think one of the reasons why that is because Godfather 2 is trying to do some damage control to the popularity of Godfather 1. When The Godfather came out at the end, Michael is awesome. Like, he's the Godfather, he's whatever. But he does some horrible things to get to that point. And Godfather 2 is all about reminding you about that.
And the whole arc of the Godfather trilogy is Michael Corleone trying to legitimize his life and finding that he's constantly having to do these reprehensible things to reach that goal. And then that goal is always 3 more steps away.
There's a reason why it ends with just Michael, there's nothing there. Mm-hmm. His soul is gone, and he is alone. Matt Berkey says, seen it? American Fiction? A masterpiece. You know what? I really like it.
I really like the first act. I thought the first act was brilliant. I know where this is going, and I want it to go there. And then it went there. And it kind of started to unravel.
The reason why it was unraveling at the end is the part that hit me as a writer in the heart. Because while I was watching this, I was wrestling with the story I had been writing and how to end it. And to watch him go through almost the same process that I went through about, well, I don't want to do this, and I don't want to do that, and I don't want to do this. When you are writing a story that can only really have a certain kind of ending, but you don't want to do that ending, but you've already started, so what are you going to do? I found the movie's solution enthralling as somebody who's been trying to figure that one out.
I thought the second half of the movie was a letdown, and I thought the ending was a major cop-out.
I think that may have been somewhat the point of the movie, but I enjoy the struggle of it.
Well, there's a website you can go to that's not a towering inferno. It's our website, welcome to thebasementshow.com. You can see our entire back catalog, and there are PayPal donation buttons that you can click on to make a one-time or rolling monthly donation to support this show. Your support is greatly appreciated. Please consider it. Go over there, check it out. Go make a contribution. You like this show. Anyway, I want to shout out some people who did that. There's Michaela, made a very generous one-time donation, and our new monthly donor, William. Thanks a lot, guys. Rob has things going on the internet as well. Why don't you tell us about some of them?
I'm on TikTok. I summarize episodes of Buck Rogers and the most 90s TV series ever known, Nowhere Man. And I also have a YouTube series that I'm very, very proud of called Stay Home, which you can find here.
Rob will be here for the next 3 weeks, but next week it's unboxing. We're going to open the mail and we're going to do some other fun stuff, and that is something you should check out. And right now, take a look at this.
I'm having a hard time figuring out what decade this movie was made in.
There's a mathematical formula involving the width of ties that will calculate what decade a movie is from.
Double-breasted suits with gold buttons. This jacket exactly.
I don't have to take crap from you.